All right, young scholars, Mr. Martirone with part 2 of our flip classroom on European art and culture. So in this video, we're going to focus on Impressionism and Post-Impressionism. All right, Impressionism is the 1870s to 1880s, short-lived. Um, Artists want to capture the first fleeting moment of a viewer's eye. So imagine you're waking up and kind of, things are you're a little groggy, you're a little blurry. That's what the artist wants to capture. Or perhaps you're looking at a sunset and you're kind of squinting your eyes and things are getting blurred. Impressionists will use kind of short, thick brushstrokes, and they want to naturally mix the colors. The most famous impressionist that you're going to see in this episode is going to be Claude Monet. All right, so let's take a look at some of these paintings. Ooh, let me just move this around here. So this painting is called The Lady with the Parasol, and this was by Claude Monet. The subject is Monet's wife, and he did 2 versions of this. And lots of times, guys, you'll see artists do multiple paintings of the same subject. In the painting on the left, not a whole lot of detail with the woman. And in this painting, he tends to focus more on the ground and the white sky. In the painting on the right, Monet focuses less on the ground and more on the sky, and the more on the blue sky. He adds his sun, and there's a little bit more detail in the woman's face. Now notice if you look up close, and I think we do, and by the way, this is called Women with a Parasol, 1875 by Monet, if you want to write that down in your notes. Yes, we do have a close-up of the woman's face. I want you guys, the reason why I'm showing you the close-up is look at the brushstrokes. Okay, notice, they're not like the white puffy clouds. Monet is very gently just taking paint and just very lightly touching it across the canvas. He's painting his wife and very lightly just going across her face with this veil. All right, a little bit of mystery. Where's this painting? Well, there you go. This lady is with my best friend, Mr. Hackney, and I. This painting is at the American Art Gallery in Washington, D.C. I like putting this painting in there not to show you how good of friends Mr. Hackney and I are, although look how young we are and look how much hair I had and look how skinny Mr. Hackney was. Woo! Ah, that was mean. I'm sorry. Shouldn't say that. He's not even on the air to defend himself. Anyway, I want you to take a look at the size of the painting. It's always neat to see the actual size of some of these paintings because some of them are huge and some of them are real small. Like this painting is no more than a 16 by 20. But again, the idea is looking at the painting to see how Monet used color to mix the blues and the whites and the greens all together. So you have to ask yourself, what is Impressionism a reaction to? What is Impressionism a reaction to? We said realism is in response to Romanticism. There were a bunch of realist artists that, they were like, I'm sick and tired of these glorified images of nature. We need to depict life as it is. Well, what happens in the 1800s? Don't say industrialization because you're right. What invention changes the way we see things? What do you think, Mr. Hackney? Well, photography. This is a photograph of my favorite photographer, Ansel Adams. You've probably seen some of Ansel's work. I'm not going to talk too much about Ansel today because he is a 20th century photographer, but the idea of the camera comes into play, changes everything. Because think about it. A camera can take a picture. Why do we need artists? For example, this Monet painting. This is called Sunrise. This was painted in 1872. Why do we need Monet to go out and paint a sunrise when I can send a photographer to do that work? Boom. Well, Impressionism is a response to photography. So somewhere in that packet of yours, write down that Impressionism is a response to photography. So looking at this painting, the Sunrise by Monet, you're looking at, obviously, a sunrise, but in a kind of a shipyard or a harbor. and you're looking at, various ships reflecting the light of the sunrise. Again, notice short, choppy brushstrokes, kind of disjointed. It's almost like you're squinting at this piece. All right. So again, Romanticism focuses on the beauty of nature and dramatic images. Realism focuses on the real life, and Impressionism is really kind of breaking things up a bit. So this is quite a remarkable piece. This next painting is probably one of the most famous paintings that you've seen. This is Monet's Water Lilies in the Japanese gardens in France. And again, what Monet does very simply is he's taking light and shadow and color and very easily blending them together. So if you look at this painting up close, you're going to see a lot of almost fuzz and kind of short, choppy brushstrokes. But when you take a step back, or several steps back, you're going to see this really beautiful image of a bridge over a lily pond. I will try and find the YouTube video that actually there's archival footage of Monet painting his water lilies. It's awesome because Monet is just sitting there smoking his cigarettes, painting. And you'd think nothing of it, that this is a master genius. But this is Monet's probably his greatest works, and I'm sure you guys have seen Monet's work. This is my favorite Impressionist piece. This is called Avenue in the Rain, and it was painted in 1917. What's really awesome about this is it was done by an American artist named Claude Monet. What's happening in 1917? Well, if you guessed World War I, you are correct. America's entry into World War I has just begun. And this is showing Flag Day, June, in the rain in New York City. So up at the top, you can see the clear sky, and you can see the rooftops of the buildings. So what we're looking at is, all these buildings of Fifth Avenue. And here on the left-hand side, you can see the outline of some telegraph or telephone poles. So it's a fairly industrialized city at this point. You can see all the flags of the buildings leading up to it. And as we get closer, you're looking at all the flags getting bigger and bigger, showing a little bit of perspective. Here, down below, especially right here, you can see the people with their umbrellas kind of crowded together in this rainstorm. They're walking across the street, and they are reflected in the lights and shadows down below. Again, Hassam is using all sorts of different colors to blend these pieces together. Really neat how he does it. Awesome. What's my favorite part of this painting is that it was given to President Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson really didn't care for the piece. He kept it in the White House basement, and there's where it remained until 1961 when it was rescued by Mrs. Jacqueline Kennedy, who loved this piece and put it in the president's bedroom. So here's an up-close piece of the people as they walk across the street. I love it. It's just a great depiction of nationalism. But getting back to what I was saying, this piece remained in President Kennedy's bedroom until it was rescued by President Clinton, and President Obama currently has it had it in his Oval Office. The president gets to decorate the office with whatever artwork he wants. I don't believe President Trump has kept this painting in his office, but it is part of the permanent White House collection. So that gives you an idea of the scope and size of the painting itself. I love it. Avenue in the Rain. It's really neat. All right. Our next Impressionist artist is Degas. All right. Degas, I'll give you a little hint. Degas loved ballerinas. He loved their grace and movement. So lots of times Degas paintings will kind of try and show movement with ballerinas. So if ever you see a painting that's a ballerina from this time period, you can assume maybe it's a Degas. All right. Here's another painting by Degas. Okay. No, everyone thinks this is the man's ear. It is not. But here you have Degas painting the ballerinas in the background, but he's seated in the orchestra pit. So here are the men of the orchestra playing their instruments. All right. I'm actually going to hold up there because this was a 10-minute video, so I'm going to give you guys a break. Play the next video, which is going to be Post-Impressionism, which is 1880s to the 1900s. All right. If I went too fast, you can watch this video again, but make sure you're getting some of the notes down, some of the qualities of Impressionism.